Hey everyone, it's final round and the first round. My name is Jordan and this is Luca. This is for Tuesday's slate of games. Let's get into it. So I'm going to do a breakdown of the entire slate. I had some extra time. Not all the lines are out yet, actually only for the Celtics and the Nuggets. I do have a pick for that game, but the rest of them I'm going to give you some matchup information, and then I will put some picks in the pinned comment later as those lines start coming out. It looks like in the last video, some of the matchups that I gave are looking pretty good, like Cade Cunningham, points plus assist. He, if you took his points plus assist and didn't even look at, his past history or anything like that, you would have hit. I'll go over the recap after the picks and the reviews of the games and everything. So this first game is going to be the Rockets at the Wizards. Clearly the Wizards aren't that great. Rockets, pretty good team this year. The best matchup here for the Rockets is going to be Alfred Sengun. He hasn't been playing too well as of late. The Wizards do give up the most points to the center position and the 8th most rebounds. He did play them earlier this year, had 27 points and 17 rebounds. So keep an eye out for his lines. Last year he had 21 and 11 and 12 and 12 against them. So it looks like rebounds is pretty consistent, 11 plus. But he just hasn't been playing too well as of late. Hopefully his play as of late has kind of given us a little bit of a discount, but we'll take a look at that. And then a sleeper is going to be for the Rockets. I think it's Amen Thompson. Tari Eason and Jabari Smith were out. That's a small forward and a power forward. So he's in at the small forward position, which the Wizards actually don't give up much against them, against the small forward position, which I found weird, but against the power forward position and everything else, they're not good at. But anyway, he's coming off a 23 point and a 16 rebound game. And the Wizards as a whole, as a team, give up the most points and the most rebounds. So really the whole small forward thing's just who they're going up against. So Amen Thompson is a sleeper, definitely. And then the Suns will be on a back-to-back at the Hornets, the fresh Hornets. So when teams are on a back-to-back, especially when they're traveling, Suns are going to be on the road. This opens up opportunities for an upset for like the Hornets to beat the Suns. Suns are bringing Bradley Beal off the bench and Nurkic off the bench. It looks like it worked out pretty well for Bradley Beal. He scored really well. Charlotte's injury report has been off and on all year, so I don't necessarily have like one of their top guys that I can just throw out at you, because you never know with them and LaMelo and Brandon Miller and all those guys. You just never know. But a sleeper for the matchup would be Mark Williams. His minutes have started to go up. If you don't know who Mark Williams is, he's averaging 15.5 points and 9.5 rebounds over the last 5 games. And the Suns give up the 2nd most points and the 13th most rebounds to the center position. So with the Suns on a back-to-back traveling, you have Mark Williams, who's been playing really well as of late. Keep an eye out for his lines. Hopefully they don't come out too like crazy high or anything like that. Before I get into this next game, if you guys could, please like the video. And if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. If you have a little bit of extra time, you could just leave a comment for the algorithm. You could just say anything. You could tell me your favorite number. Someone said their favorite number is a secret. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to say it. You can just tell me it's a secret, and that works. And also, if you want to get away from something like Prizepicks that has a bunch of flat lines and all that, and you want more dynamic payouts and more options, check out Underdog Fantasy, Sleeper, ParlayPlay, ChalkBoard, or BETR. BETR will do a match up to $200, the rest up to $100 if you use promo code FINALROUND11. Links are in the description, and I'll take you straight there with the promo code. And this next game is going to be the fresh Lakers at the Dallas Mavericks, who are going to be on a back-to-back. Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving will be out yet again. So one prop that's not even out yet that I'm going to point out that has been hitting is PJ Washington first quarter points. It was at 3.5, probably going to come out at 4.5, but he's been absolutely crushing it when it comes to first quarter points. He had one first quarter where he scored 19 points, and his minutes have gone up in the first quarter, and he's becoming one of the top options with those two guys out. If this comes out at 4.5, I still think it's fine. He's taking a lot of threes, especially early on, and being on a back-to-back, we don't want tired legs later in the game. And taking a full game's prop, and he's potentially missing a bunch of shots, near the end of the game. We're going in as fresh as possible on the back-to-back. Still at home versus the Lakers. Lakers give up the 12th most points to the power forward position, so keep an eye out for PJ Washington first quarter points. And then for the Lakers, I kind of played around with the matchups and all this and history and stuff like that. I don't know where LeBron James 3-pointers made is going to be at, but at 1.5, if it came out at 1.5, the Mavericks give up the second most 3-pointers to the power forward position. LeBron's gone over 2 plus 3-pointers in 6 straight games. Maybe it's something you can add to a parlay. But last season versus the Mavericks, he had 3 makes, 3 makes, and 4 makes. So if it's at 2.5, it's going to be plus money. You could take a shot at that. But if you want to add it to a parlay, 1.5, I think is solid for LeBron against the Mavericks. Anthony Davis has a decent matchup. And then clearly the guards, Austin Reeves, has been doing his thing with rebounds and assists. And then Max Christie has been making a decent amount of threes. So just some things to think about with that game. And then the next one will be the Timberwolves on the road on a back-to-back versus the fresh Pelicans, if you want to call the Pelicans fresh. Trey Murphy has already been declared out, and that sucks. Trey Murphy has been on fire as of late. DeJounte Murray is questionable, and then suddenly Zion Williamson is questionable. Definitely, if he plays, he's going to be on a minutes restriction. So if they come out with any super high lines or anything like that, you might want to look at some unders for Zion on his return. I can't see him coming out, playing 30 plus minutes. And the Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards, past 2 games has taken like 30 plus shots. He said something about taking a lot of shots, and he hasn't failed with that at all. So he will be on a back-to-back, so he could get tired if his points line comes out super high. You could look at an under, but the Pelicans, they just give up a lot of points overall. So we'll see where we're at there. I'm staying away from this one for now for matchups and everything. The next one is the Hawks versus the Jazz. I wrote a note here. This is the fireworks game. This is the 2 teams that play at a fast pace, top 10 in pace for both of them, and they both give up a ton of points. Unfortunately, Jalen Johnson has already been ruled out. Trae Young is probable. So fast-paced matchup, like I said, one guy to point out is going to be Trae Young. He has been scoring very well as of late. The Utah Jazz give up the 6th most points to the point guard position and the 2nd most assists. He's averaging 26 points and 11.5 assists over the last 10 games. You probably will see his assist line come out pretty high at like 11.5. But the scoring has, kind of upticked lately. Potentially because Jalen Johnson has been out. And then on the other side of things, a guy to spotlight is Colin Sexton. The Hawks give up the 6th most points to the shooting guard position and then the 4th most assists. Over his last 10 games, he's scoring 21 points and 5.5 assists. He's been pretty consistent with his line. I'm sure it'll be bumped up where it was previously. And then the Celtics and the Nuggets, this will be a game, primetime game. Usually specific guys play harder, play better when they're in the spotlight. I don't think a guy like Jokic is that type of guy. He's going to play hard every single night. But definitely primetime games, keep an eye out whenever you're betting props. I've noticed someone like Wemby, if, Christmas Day, obviously he went off, took a ton of shots. He knew a lot of people had eyes on him. Guys know they're going to be on TNT or whatever it is that day. And, they want to show out. So I feel like the primetime game props are a little bit safer for some of the star players because they definitely want to show out on primetime. But a pick that I found, because these props are out, is Kristaps Porzingis over 5.5 rebounds at -148. I feel like this is pretty low compared to what he has done this year. Denver, they give up the 7th most rebounds to the center position. They play at the 5th fastest pace in the NBA. They give up a ton of assists. So you could take a look at assist for some of these guys. I took a look at a lot of their lines. Assist lines are pretty high for a lot of the Celtics players, but I'm going on a rant there. Peyton Pritchard is a guy who I want to see his lines. They're not out yet, but definitely really good matchup for him, fast pace and all that. But what you see on the screen with Porzingis, you see some red bars there. Some of these games he did not play that many minutes. It was very short-lived. So filter with 25 plus minutes what he has been playing recently, and you'll see he's missed in just 2 games versus Orlando and Houston, which Houston's not like a tough rebounding matchup, but Orlando definitely is. Definitely slower paced teams when it comes to rebounding. So with the Nuggets, fast pace, giving up a lot of rebounds, I do like this prop here. And head-to-head, he's gone over 9 out of the last 10 games versus Denver. So really like Kristaps Porzingis here. This probably will get bumped up to 6.5, but it just dropped at 5.5. I know it's -148. So and that's not on Fanduel yet or DraftKings yet. So we'll see where that comes out at. But that is something you could throw in a parlay if you're not like a single better for -148. I totally get it. So this last game is going to be the Heat. They will be on a back-to-back on the road versus the Fresh Warriors. This one I'm going to hold out on the Heat since they are playing right now as I'm filming. They're playing against the Kings. I kind of want to see how they do, and also they're going to be on a back-to-back. They were awful the first game with Jimmy Butler out. They're not doing too bad as of right now. The second game, Tyler Hero's been playing pretty well, but the Warriors been pretty tough defensively. So that's just another game it doesn't get me too hyped up for. The ones that really, props-wise, get me hyped up for would be Celtics Nuggets. Because of the pace, high-pace games are always good ones to look out for. Hawks Jazz, obviously. And 2 games are the ones I'm definitely looking out for the most. And then potentially Pelicans, they give up a lot. So Timberwolves versus Pelicans, and then Rockets versus Wizards. Wizards give up a lot of stuff. And then, of course, we'll take a look at unders. I'll take a look at unders when all that comes out. So not all my videos are like this. I'm just doing it because I'm had more time and I can break down more of these games and spotlight some of the players that I will be looking at. But there's always, whenever you're looking at the data, there's always another play that will pop out that you'll see just based off the line. Sometimes you can just play things based off the matchup, and I'll talk about that here in a second with the recap. But if you want to discuss lines further, I have a Discord. Link is in the description. You can hop on in there and talk about NBA, football, college football, all that good stuff. That is free. And then as far as the recap goes, I did give some matchup information about Cade Cunningham, points plus assists. Late at night, it came out at 33.5, and I would have taken it there, but I woke up and it was already bumped up by 2. He still crushed that, but because the matchup was good. If you looked at his history, it was kind of off and on, but the matchup, it was just good enough for him to crush it. And some guys are just like that, where if they have a good matchup, it doesn't really matter what they've done in the past. They're going to get the opportunity, and Cade Cunningham is one of those guys. Another good matchup was Malik Beasley. I did end up taking his 3-pointers in the pin comment, and he did not make a shot the entire game. He took like 8 3-pointers. So the opportunity was there. He just was cold. So guys like that, jump shooters, and he had a hot streak going, but it looks like he's gone absolutely cold. But he was doing great. But that is what it is. I did have PJ Washington over first quarter points. That one hit pretty easily. I'm going to continue to take that one as long as Luka and Kyrie are out, and as long as that is 5 or 4.5 or lower. And then I mentioned Domantas Sabonis rebounds versus the Heat. Looked like he was doing pretty well before I started recording. So Victor Wembanyama over points. He scored 1 point in the fourth quarter. Looked like he was going to cash nicely, but just completely slowed down. I don't know what it was. A guy like Victor Wembanyama, this is another rant. He's so talented, and he's got all of that potential. And late in games, maybe don't take so many 3-pointers, and because you make yourself just like an average person at that point, or an average NBA player who can just take threes. Use what your gift is, and go and get easy baskets at the rim, just laying it up over people. And you can take the threes throughout the game, but when it comes to crunch time, go get those easy buckets. And that's just a rant. But he ended up missing. Kobe White went over points plus assists. I did mention Vucevic in there. He went over in his points. Zach LaVine. That was a fireworks matchup, as I like to call it. So a lot of points going around. It's just the Bulls distributed the points pretty well. Then I had a couple of unders, and this one killed me. Nick Claxton under 2.5 assists. The very first basket of the game was assisted by Nick Claxton, and I was like, oh no, here we go. But it was looking pretty good going into the fourth quarter, and then he happened to get his third assist, and that one did not hit. Should have went points assist on that one, but he had been scoring really well lately, so I went with just assist. And then Kawhi Leonard under 6.5 rebounds plus assists. This did not look good early. I heard about the minutes restriction and everything, and I was like, oh no. It looks like they lifted this minutes restriction, even though Underdog Twitter said that he was going to be on one. But it looks like he just got his minutes restriction of like 20 minutes. He played 21. It looks like he played most of it in the first half just to kind of get things going. And then he sat pretty much the rest of the game. And then if you had a bunch of overs, he played just those few minutes in the second half, so you didn't get a reboot if you had the over. So he went under on that, but he ended up with 4 rebounds plus assists. It looked like he was going to crush it, but the whole reason for the pick was the minutes restriction. Hopefully they keep that going, but I don't know if I can take that without knowing for sure now that there's going to be a minutes restriction. We would need that announcement, and they've been announcing that pretty late in the day, and then you can go run over and take some unders for Kawhi Leonard. So I know this video is a little bit longer than normal, but I just want to go through each game just with a few tidbits here and there. So I'm going to get this edited and get it out to you. God bless you all. It's fine around. My name is Jordan. I will catch you on the next one. Bye.